Today, we're going to talk a lot about the software of Confido, the actual features, the bits and bytes, but we really see the product, the Confido product, as more than just the software. The other component of that really is the people that you interact with, hopefully not on a day-to-day basis, but regularly. If you have a support question, an issue, or you just want some feedback on how to use the product better, our commitment to you is that you get people who are knowledgeable about the product. They're knowledgeable about the business of law. They know what an IOLTA account is, and they are empowered to solve an issue if there's an issue to be solved. So if you ever feel like we're not living up to that standard, feel free to reach out to us, reach out to me. I'll drop my contact info in the chat later. Email and cell phone, you can always call or send a text. So that's super important to us. And we really think about that, the people, as more important than the software in the overall product and experience that you have. So that said, we're going to focus on the software today, some of those new features. We built Confido Legal because we felt that lawyers, law firms deserved best-in-class payments tools that were really dedicated to the unique workflows and, of course, making sure that you comply with the rules of professional conduct. So helping optimize the financial position of your firm, helping automate the flow of money throughout the life cycle of a case, and then something that we're really passionate about is improving the end client experience. So with that as context, we're going to dive in today. Well, the way it's organized, we're going to talk about some of the new features related to payments acceptance. So if you're using Confido to accept payments, that section will be for you. Then we'll go into disbursements. So if particularly for our plaintiff firms, but if you're using Confido to disperse money out to clients and third parties, we'll talk about some of the new features there. We'll go into reporting and talk about some of the new reporting features. And then Trevor, our CTO, is going to dive into some of what's coming next. So we also have a surprise. So if you stay, we'll try to cover all the presentation part in 30 minutes. If you stay throughout the 30 minutes, we're bribing you to do that. We have a surprise for you. And then we'll stick around for 30 minutes after that, or however long you want to have more of a Q&A session and a little bit more informal discussion. So we should cover the majority of it in the first 30 minutes. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to AJ, our VP of Engineering, who's going to talk about some of the new payments features.
All right. Hello. So we've been working on some features that we have for primarily centered around the payments page. You might have seen some of these already, but I'll be outlining some of the cool features that have been requested here right now. So the first one I'll go into is a highly requested option to eliminate the pay other amount on the payment page. So here we can see that I have a payment page with the pay other amount, but we now have added the ability to turn that off either at an individual payment link level, or we can go to the settings and update the allow clients to pay a partial amount on payment links. If we disable this and then refresh the page, we can see that now the client will not have the option to pay a partial amount of the payment link. So that's been a highly requested feature that we've got in there for you now as well. We've also added in the disclaimer for surcharging. So clients can easily see the surcharging disclaimer that they're going to pay 3%. Also, if they plug in their credit card, it will show the additional amount that they will be charged for that surcharge amount. The next feature that I'll go into is our new branding options. So if we see here, we go to the settings again and to the branding page. We have a new branding settings page. So on this page, you can see the option to upload a logo. So here I'll upload our Confido logo real quick. And one of the cool parts that we've added is you can now remove showing your firm name. So you can see we now say Confido Legal twice in the branding page or in the payment page. If we check this off, we'll see that it updates and we just have that. So that's been a requested feature as well. The other thing that we've added in is we can add a custom footer down at the bottom. So this custom footer here actually accepts Markdown. So if you want to add in a link or a URL, you can add that in here by And we'll make this a link with Markdown to the Confido website. And now if we wait for that to load, when we click on this, it will actually be a hyperlink to that website that has been linked there. So that's another feature that we have. Some other things that we have added into the payments specifically is we have account updater for stored payment methods. So that means that if a card expires, we'll automatically get that updated as a stored payment method, and you'll continue to be able to charge that. And also we have new features around our surcharging deposits where we are able to separate the surcharge deposits out from the initial transaction. So we no longer have to deposit those surcharges directly into your bank account, and we can take them out at the time of payment, which helps a lot with the accounting that you do. Those are some of the payments features that we have implemented. And if you stick around and have questions at the end, I'd be happy to answer them. So from that, I'll pass it over to Kellen that's going to talk about some of our disbursements updates that we have.
Awesome. Thanks, AJ. Hello, everyone. I'm Kellen Ball and the head of banking here at Confido Legal. I am excited to share some of the updates on the disbursements, both from the client perspective and from the firm. And so with that, I'll go ahead and present a little bit of information and then actually walk through a little bit of a demo of the new disbursements page. So first up, in the client enhancements, reloadable prepaid cards are now offered. So if you have a client that would like to have their funds instantly available and they do not yet have a financial institution, they can procure a prepaid Visa or debit card from their local merchant, Walmart, et cetera. And when they activate those cards, they can then use the debit card feature to the push to card to push the funds to the prepaid card. The clients will also have a better experience for error messages. So if they input their information like their card expiration date or they're over their limits for their banking institution, they'll now have more readily available error messages along with actions that they need to take in order to self-service and resolve that error. And then lastly, on the enhanced security features, we've added in functionality to check to the zip code to ensure that the zip code for the push to card matches what they enter. This helps eliminate any what we call fat finger or typos, thus eliminating additional errors. We've also added in the Discover network. As of late 2025, Capital One cards are running on the Discover network. So this now ensures that any of your clients that want to use push to card or the debit card feature will have continued availability to do so.
One comment on that to the on the payments acceptance side, just to be clear, we've accepted Discover cards for many years. This is just for the disbursements and the push to card.
Next, I want to talk about disbursements page. So the disbursements page has had quite a bit of work. All firms have access to this disbursement page. So when you go into the Confido app, you click on the disbursements tab listed over here on the far left, and then you'll see a list of all of the disbursement transactions along with their status. And then there'll be some additional details page that is also available. So if you go into more recent transaction, clicking one here, at the top, in the top box, this is kind of the summary for any transaction so you know what the status is and what any next steps are. You'll also see down below an audit log. The audit log ensures that you have visibility to each individual action from when the disbursement was drafted and approved, all the way through any step where the client might have taken action on the matter itself. Within the disbursements tab, you also have the ability to alter the views that you are currently using. So if you come into the filtering, you can review based on any of the dimensions that you see on the table. And then in doing so, you might want to see any of the transactions that are over a certain dollar amount, if that's of note, or you might have recurring views that you want to see over and over. In which case, come over to where this eye is. You can change the view and change any of your views to pre-selected and pre-saved. In this case, I'll note the drafts. So if you wanted to identify those disbursements that have been drafted but not yet approved, you can create a filter and then ultimately save that view here on the far right. Another thing that within either the details for the individual transactions or on the far right, we've also added the ability to be able to void a transaction. So maybe a transaction that is currently in flight, but for whatever reason needs to be voided, you can now self-service this particular transaction. So you can go into the funds that are in transit and void the transaction. Great. And I think I might have covered all of the one last update, and that is the disbursement bank details. So if you go under settings and disbursements, you can now define which of the bank accounts are visible when you are drafting a disbursement. And so in this case, this default operating account is momentarily turned off. But if you went ahead and you turned it on, now when you're drafting disbursements, this will appear as an option for you to create your subsequent disbursements. This is a way that you can add your bank accounts, and if for whatever reason a bank account should not be used in the future, you can toggle it off. And then if again in the future you need to turn it back on, you can do so right here. With that, I'll go ahead and throw it over to Stephanie.
Hi, everybody. We have some updates for the all transactions table. If you remember way back, it used to look quite a bit different. We've really streamlined and simplified how it looks and still presenting all the same data. We've got dates here, and you can also filter by date with some presets. So if I just wanted to look at today's payments, I could see the ones just from today. We also have a couple new columns to show. For the folks who are using QuickBooks, we have a new QuickBooks column, and that will link out right to your invoice. So if you were to click on the invoice number, it takes you right to your QuickBooks account and pulls up that invoice for you. But we do have surcharging shown here. If you hover over it, it will show you the full amount. So you've got the amount of the payment and the surcharging here. I don't know if many people are aware, but we do show declines and errors as well. And right now, like by default, they are excluded. You can choose to include them and it will show the declined payments. So that could be helpful if a client's calling in and having some trouble, you can easily see how many times they've tried and the decline messages by going to view details. And you can see this one shows insufficient funds here. Also on the all transactions table, we have a new export process. So if you were to come up here to export, it exports quite a bit more information than what's shown here on the page. And I can show you this. We've got the memo field. So folks who leverage the standing links, a lot of times clients will put in their name, matter, invoice, whatever you've requested them to fill in on that standing link, they will type into that page. It now shows up on the export. So that's new, and you can tie that back directly to your invoice or other matter information. Along with the all transactions table here, we do have some changes related to billing. You'll notice for March, you no longer have a statement in the statement section. This is now all part of billing. In billing, you'll see this one's a little bit outdated, but the bills will show you a status of either it's a closed bill. If we've already billed your firm, it will be updated to paid. And as transactions are coming in throughout the month, they will be added to the open bill. So you can see here on this open bill, we've got one transaction here, and it shows you the breakdown of the fee for each transaction, which is really helpful for reconciling. Now, of course, we're sending you the full payment amount and withdrawing fees at the billing times and the billing periods. So you're not receiving just a net discount. You're actually receiving the full amount. We want to show you the fee per that amount every single time. We also have some additional changes related to surcharging. So firms who are doing surcharging on our new billing program, you will see the fee to your firm is $0. The client's paying that fee ahead of time. We're holding on to that fee and we're no longer sending it to your operating account. And you can see that on every line item where the surcharge was paid by the client and the fee to the firm is $0. And that also shows up here too, because you'll see the surcharge savings for your firm where it has the amount the client has paid. I think that is it for billing and reporting. I will pass it over to Trevor.
Stephanie, before you go, for folks, can you explain kind of like what you need to enable in order to get the surcharging? Like if they are currently getting surcharge deposits, getting those fees deposited into the operating account, what they need to do to switch over to not having those surcharges deposit into the account.
Yes, thank you, Emery. So the new platform, the new program that we have been working on for surcharging, that does require new terms and conditions. So if you were to log in to your Confido Legal account today, you will see a banner about accepting new terms and conditions. All of the pricing remains the same for the firm. It's just that we're going to be switching some back end configurations for you, and that does require some new terms and conditions to be accepted. On the terms and conditions, you'll see it links back to the new pricing page for your firm, and that is available here now for you to review. So you can see the pricing that you're set at for the ACH payments or card payments, or if you have special pricing related to disbursements or any specific pricing for your firm, now available in settings. So that will be shown to you in the new terms and conditions.
Kara also had a question, which I think AJ answered in the chat, but I think would be pretty helpful probably for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you say that you are going to start holding on to the surcharge instead of it going to our operating account? Yes. For the folks on the new program, which does require an update to the terms and conditions, once those are signed, we can switch you over and hold on to those surcharge amounts so that they're not complicating your reconciliation process.
And then Kara asked, is there a way to have default of like actually showing the declines and errors?
No, by default, we do not, but you can just click this button and say include, and then it will show them all here.
So there is an option to create a saved view. So through the transactions table, you can open up the filter. And if you do include your declined, if you set it up so that you have all of your declines visible, you can actually save that as a new view. If that's the view that you have selected, when you come back, that's saved against your user. And so when you come back to the transaction table, that view will be the one selected. So now I don't have any errors that have happened in the last 10 transactions, but we can see that the errors are also appearing within the table as well. So you can set that up through the saved view. So first you do the filter and you update that so that it's including those, and then you can save that and keep that as your default view. So that'd be the process for doing that.
Jennifer mentioned she already clicked on and accepted the new terms. Do you need to specify anything additional? No, we have the ability to pull that information, and once you accept, we'll go ahead and work on switching your account over. We will connect with you and make sure that you know when exactly that's happening so that you can expect those changes.
Mentioned in disbursements, the client name wasn't flowing through. Using the Litify integration, we are work on with Litify on making sure that they pass through the client and matter, so you'll be able to see those on the page. But that's good feedback. We could probably put the name of the person who accepted it on the disbursements page too, to just give you a little bit more data. So that's good feedback, Jessica, either through Litify or through the work that we're going to do, make sure that you get more detail on the disbursements page. And Vicky, great feedback too there. We'd love to probably follow up and make sure we're able to get you the detail that you're looking for, not the detail, but the summary there. So thank you for that. All right. Timothy asked about API updates for Xero integrations. We don't have a direct integration with Xero, but I have helped several firms set up integration with Xero through Zapier. We have a really powerful Zapier integration, and Xero gives a lot of access actually for that. So normally I wouldn't necessarily recommend Zapier for that type of workflow, but happy to dig in with you there. All right. We'll keep the questions coming. We'll answer some in line, but also have some time later. We'll bring up Trevor.
All right. Hi, I am Trevor Hannes. I'm the CTO here at Confido. A lot of you probably have never met me before, but I lead our engineering team and am responsible for building and maintaining the Confido infrastructure. Before I get into what's coming next, I thought it might be interesting for you to hear a little bit more about our philosophy, our engineering philosophy here at Confido, and a little bit more about our team. So I call us a small but mighty team. We're currently 6 engineers, actively hiring 2 more. Keeping the team small allows us to hire top tier engineers. So we don't like to hire for volume, but we like to hire for quality. So our goal is a team of people who can move fast and build great software. We like to think for the long term. We try to resist building shortcuts. We believe that the payments infrastructure is really not a place to cut corners. A bad decision today becomes a painful problem for you later. So we're really meticulous. We scrutinize every single line of code that we ship. We also think a lot about security. Every engineer on our team is expected to understand security at a very deep level. We actually have a program where we pay good hackers to try to break into our system every day. We just want to find and fix issues before they ever become your problem. And we also want to make sure that we're building what you actually need, not what we think you need. Little history, before we actually wrote a single line of code at Confido, we spent 6 months interviewing over 100 law firms, really dialing in what is it exactly that we should be building. And that discipline really hasn't changed. We're extremely selective about what we build. So just that feedback that we get from you about new features that you want or bugs is amazing and really guides what's coming next. Okay, so with that said, let's talk about what's coming next. On the payment side, we're working on a new chargeback portal. Let's be honest, chargebacks are the worst. Somebody was unhappy, they disputed a charge, and now you're having to deal with it. I can't say that we'll make that experience fun, but we're going to try to make it a little less painful. So we're building a dedicated portal where you'll be able to see the full details of a chargeback, understand exactly what happened, and importantly, be able to upload supporting documents to try to fight it and get your money back. So there'll be more visibility and less back and forth through email with our support team. Avoiding refunds. So somebody had mentioned this one, I think, previously, but this is a kind of a simple one, but it's something that we've heard you all ask for. So in case you accidentally send a refund to the wrong client, you'll have a buffer window where you can catch it and void that refund before the money actually goes out. And then on the disbursement side, we're working on vendor payments. So we released client disbursements, the ability to send settlement funds digitally to your clients. Now we're taking that a step further and building out vendor payments. So you'll be able to easily send money to other parties like co-counsels, lien holders, insurance companies, and even pre-settlement expenses. And we'll do it the Confido way. Everything will be tied back to the client and the matter in Confido, so your reconciliation stays super clean and your records are complete. And then the next thing on the disbursement side is better bank descriptors. This is another small thing, but it makes a big difference. We've always done disbursements as a one-to-one. So one disbursement equals one transaction on your bank statement. We never batch them together. That already makes the reconciliation easier, but now we'll be improving on that, a better description on the banking side. We do have to work in some kind of strict character limits. I think we only get like 20 or 25 characters. So we've decided to add in our 4-digit disbursement number on that. So, and then we'll follow that with the client name and the matter, but they may get cut off on the backside or on the end. But that 4-digit disbursement number lets you immediately relate that transaction in your bank account to the disbursement in Confido. Yeah, there's definitely more that we'll be working on, and we're really excited about the future and appreciate your time.